Camel car, and that's, as I say, some 5 laps behind. And then we have the Mardi Gras Honda and the journalists in their Mazda up in 4th place in class now. So that'll be worth extra pages, or an increase in cover price on Autocar magazine next month. So Sean McInerney, for we think it is he, still in the lead of the race then. Not too far before we come up to the 15 hours mark at 7:30 in the morning. And then we'll try and get through a rundown as more of you return to the circuit. But as I say, Sean McInerney and Phil Keane really have kept this Eclipse Ferrari at the head of the field through by virtue of good driving throughout the night. They've been extremely consistent. For the moment, the lap time's just slowing down a little bit, but that's possibly just due to traffic or other incidents around the circuit. Still the number 3 Top Cats, Mosler, in 2nd place. The other Mosler having been retired, if again you're coming back to the circuit, the number 4 Mosler, the Strata Team Mosler, which Callum Lockie was driving, has had to retire. Too many problems on that car, ultimately being an overheating engine. There goes the number 3 Top Cats car through as we speak. Brian has news
of the Eclipse Mosler. Your prediction was accurate, Paul. And yes, it is Sean McInerney at the wheel, and yes, he's out for another hour, and then when he comes in, it will be almost certain to be a handover to Michael, who, when I suggested that maybe is not frightfully enthusiastic about racing into the dark, he said, I got the reply, well, he had quite a good stint in the early evening, so that was laying that particular ghost, I think. And what have we got next door here? The lights are blinding me. Number 62, and this of the Ginetta, and trying to see who we have. Now this is good news, because Owen and Ash and Rick and Rob have not exactly had the best of times. They've been in the pit lane and in the pit garage a lot, have they not? Any idea where they are in the listings?
Oh dear, this is
number 62,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find it.
It's 47th, I'm told.
Absolutely right. Yes, because I only have the one screen. I kind of page between them. Yes, 47th.
I came into the garage. It's the BPM Racing Ginetta, and they are 150 laps adrift of the race leader. 158.
But they're 10 laps ahead of the car behind them. Look on the bright side.
Alex Osborne, yes, you're right. No, Synchro Motors car is behind them immediately. Or do you mean the same class car?
Well, no, I meant the Synchro Motors car. They're 10 laps ahead of the Synchro Motors car.
Yes, they are.
So, yes, there's always a bright side. But and this is the beauty of this race, is that, I mean, you'll read about it in the magazines on Wednesday or Thursday, depending which magazine you read. But to find the real story, you have to go into each garage and ask each driver their individual story of the race, because there will be 1,001 stories to be told. Okay, we've got 50 cars, 54 cars. Each of them will have had various stories to be told as they've gone round, and they're all heroic stories in their own way. And it's great that we've got Brian and Chris in the pits during the race to be able to pick those stories up. Because it gives us kind of an insight into what goes on out there in the course of a 24-hour race like this.
Absolutely right, Paul. What I was just looking at is the Class 3 situation. We've still got the Aston out front, haven't we? Number 49, the Nicholas Mee Racing Aston. I noticed that in second place we've got the Lavora gradually creeping up the order, haven't we? That's the Marcos. Hang on.
Yes, it is. It's the Lotus Evora entered by Cor Oyser's team, which helpfully calls itself Marcos Racing International.
Yeah.
So as long as you can keep in mind that Marcos Racing International means Cor Oyser, then you get the link to Lotus Evora.
Of course, yes. All right. Well, now that's second in its class at the present moment. It's a lap down on the Nick Mee Racing Aston, or is it 2 laps down on it?
No, it's only... no, sorry, it's... on the Nick Mee car, it's 2 laps down.
Yeah.
But the other car with which it has been battling throughout is the Quasi Class 3 car, which is the Top Cats Marcos. It's really a Class 2 car, but because there aren't any other Class 2 cars, I've kind of thrown it in with the other Class 3 cars just for somewhere to put it. But no, it's all very close, and of course that's why the MJC Ferrari has dropped down so quickly. He's already down to 8th. In fact, he'll be down to 9th the next time the screen refreshes itself. So the MJC Ferrari, which we know now has retired. Unfortunately, the way the screens work, they don't actually take him off the screen when he's retired. He'll just drop down the order until eventually he disappears somewhere off the bottom. But the
beneficiary of that will be the Dorset Racing
entry. Well, eventually everybody will be, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll just see how it goes.
And doesn't that mean that shortly we will be seeing the Mark Griffiths car, number 89, which is back out on the circuit at the moment, isn't it? They'll be moving up to 9th place in the order.
Absolutely.
Not as high as they have been, though, you were telling us.
No. Yeah, a long time ago, yes, right in the early part of the race, they were very well up in the race, weren't they? I wonder if I can still find where that was. 89... what point was it? Well, up in the race. I may have to take notice of that question, but I have a feeling they were in the top 10 earlier in the race.
Sure. Yes, I think you said that they'd got up to 8th at one stage. I hope I'm not misquoting you.
No, I seem to remember saying that. I just can't find the evidence of the notes that I read from.
What should I be getting excited about the fact that number 68, the Intersport BMW, is only 26 seconds behind the Lavora, the Cor Oyser car?
Yes, the Lotus Evora. Yes, I mean you should. I mean we've got very close battles, and that is a battle for position. It's a battle for class position.
Second place in the class
and 6th overall. So yes, those two are very close together.
It's pulling away. I think the Lotus is pulling away from the BMW. Looking at the lap times, it's a second a lap faster.
Yeah.
Half a second.
Half a second.
On the evidence of the last lap only.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that gap has been widening a little bit.
All right. Okay. I submit.
And while we're on lap times, I'm not the statistician that Paul is, nor the mathematician. But my roundhouse estimate is that if all things remained equal, it would take the Aquila 2 hours to get on terms with the Eclipse Ferrari.
With the
leading Ferrari.
With the Eclipse Ferrari, okay.
2 hours, that's...
Yeah. Well, that gives it 7 hours to then pull out a further 4-lap lead. Or to recover from another problem. So, yes, there's all manner of things that might happen.
Well, having said that, I've noticed now the Ferrari is responding. They're now on almost equal times, lap times.
Yes, I think that the key points are, with one actually that John Gore made earlier on, is that let's just get to about 11:30 and then see where we are, because we did hear from John Martin, didn't we, that there is more to come from the Aquila, but they want to keep it on the track. Now, they may be prepared to take a few more risks when they start getting a bit closer to the front. On the other hand, they may be saying, well, no, let's settle for what we've got. We're not going to win this race, but we'll settle for possibly getting second place. It's a fascinating battle, and a reason not to go to bed yet, in my view.
And come 10 o'clock, 10:30, we will get 28 degrees heat, which we haven't had in this race so far.
Because it was beginning to cool off at 4:30 yesterday.
Yes.
Yes, no, valid points, well made, Steve. So those things are still to come. Sean McInerney, of course, we'll see how Mike McInerney manages to keep the pace going when he takes over. Sean has until about 8:15 still to drive, so he's got nearly an hour still at the wheel of that car. The Top Cats Mosler number 3 is currently on lap 357 and will not be until about lap 372 at 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock. So he's got another half hour. So half an hour for the Top Cats Mosler until its next pit stop. And that means that Bob Berridge is the man most likely to be in next. And he's looking at probably about 20 minutes, isn't it? 365 laps or so for Bob Berridge. In the third place, D'Aquila. And so give him 15-20 laps for the Aquila before its next stop. So time for the leading runners at least to concentrate on getting some good laps in. The Nick Me Aston Martin is still there, secure really secure-ish. He's a minute ahead in fourth place, and just looking on his schedule, 12 stops completed for him, and looking at lap 358. 360 for his next pit stop, and that'll be around 8 o'clock as well. So they're all going to come in again pretty much at the same time, I suspect, and we'll have this sudden rush to the pits when all the pit activity takes place at once. The Marcos Mantis of the Top Cats Team 27 will be in for his 11th stop. Now he's just had the pad change, and so that's yes, that'll be probably first, won't it? 41. Yes, I think within the next 4 or 5 laps, the Top Cats Marcos will be the next one to come in, and of course when it does so, it'll lose out to the Lotus Evora number 57, unless that one comes in first, because that's the Core Oiser car that we decided was having more pit stops, because it's now up onto its 16th stop. At around 339 laps for that car. Yeah, so the Lotus Evora could well be the next one in. Either of those two cars, either 57 or 27 at first sight, will be the next pit stoppers coming out of 5th and 6th places respectively. So 15 hours is now up. We'll have a quick rundown. 361 laps completed then for the Eclipse Motorsport Ferrari 430 with, at the moment, Sean McInerney aboard. And in second place, 3 laps behind, is the number 3 Top Cats Mosler. And that car, number 3, currently has Freddie Hetherington aboard. Or is it now Julian Draper? No, I think it's still No, it is. It's Julian Draper, isn't it? Now aboard the Top Cats. Mosler in second place. In third place is number 6, the Aquila, with Bob Berridge aboard, a further 12 laps behind. And then in fourth place is number 49, the Nick Me Racing Aston Martin, 17 laps behind the leader, but just 2 laps behind the Aquila, but falling back all the time, of course. In fifth place, shortly to make a pit stop, we think, is number 27, the Top Cats Marcos from Class 2, just a lap behind the Aston Martin. And then in sixth place is number 57, the Marcos Racing International Lotus Evora from Cor Oizer's team. That's just a lap behind the Top Cats Racing Marcos, and so those two will have a battle for position probably in the pit lane. That's fifth and sixth. In seventh place is number 68. That's the Intersport BMW on the same lap, just 30 seconds behind the Lotus Evora, but dropping back just a little bit now. In eighth place is number 66. This is the Paul Winter BMW. Sorry, the Dorset Racing Porsche, Paul Winter's car. He's 25 laps behind the race leader in 8th place, number 66. 9th is still being shown the number 1 MJC Ferrari, but that's now been posted as a retirement with an engine that's had a cracked exhaust and is too dangerous to continue with. In 10th place is number 89, the leading Class 4 car, Mark Griffiths BMW, 35 laps behind the leader, but in 10th place overall, and that will inherit 9th place as he moves ahead of the retired Ferrari. In 11th place is number 70, the Holden Astra, on the same lap as number 89, but nearly a lap behind. In 12th place is number 53, the Top Cats Marcos of the Orientals, the Oriental Express. That's in 12th place. In 13th place is number 46, Pete Story's Lotus Elise. In 14th place is number 84, the Red Camel Seat. In 15th place is number 88, the Mardi Gras Honda Integra. In 16th place is the number 75 Mazda with the journalists aboard. I think Andrew Frankel was the last one to take over that car. In 17th place, number 82 is Rob Carvel and team with the VW Golf. In 18th place is number 77, Dave Cox with the BMW M3 CSL and his team of the family team. And in 19th place is car number 80, the Synchro Motors Honda Civic. And then in 20th place, number 65 is the Seat Leon of the Sub-Zero Wolf team. In 21st place is car number 90. In 22nd place, car number 64. In 23rd place, car number 50. In 24th place, car number 78. In 25th place, car number 95. In 26th, car number 54. In 27th, number 86. In 28th, number 59. 29th is number 61. 30th is number 92. 31st is 94. 32nd is 93. 33rd is 52. 34th is 87. 35th is number 4, as that's a retirement. 36 is number 5, that's a retirement. 37th is 91. 38th is 63. 39th is 85. And in 40th position is car number 56. And as I say, some of those are known retirement, so we'll leave the update for there for the time being. Just to go back to the leaderboard and see what progress there is. Well, it's still 12 laps back from Bob Berridge at the wheel of the Aquila in third place. So he's still trying to close the gap. 3 seconds a lap he made up on that previous lap.
we've got the Top Cats Marcos 27 car, which is now 8 seconds a lap faster than the Nicholas Mee Aston in front of it. 38 seconds, so that should be there soon.
Yeah, so that's one to keep an eye on. In fact, the
5 laps, I reckon, unless, of course, there's pit stops in between for either of them.
Well, I mean, there will be some pit stops. The leader goes through onto another lap. 364 laps now completed for the race leader. And Brian, I can hear your microphone from the pits, but you're a bit crackly.
I apologise, I didn't know my microphone was live.
It wasn't until just a moment ago.
Ah, good, because I'm munching my way through a bacon sandwich.
I can smell it from here.
Courtesy of Intersport, and a mug of hot steaming coffee as well.
Yeah, rub it in, go on.
Well, don't forget that at the end of this next hour I've got to come over and spend another 4 hours in the main box with you, so I do need this little bit of sustenance. And it's quiet in the pit lane at the moment, relatively speaking, though I don't think I should have said that.
No, never assume it's going to stay quiet for long. But no, sustenance is a vital part of the race, although I think Steve and I are living on adrenaline alone at the moment. But as I say, that's largely because there's a lot to watch and a lot to keep our eyes open on. In comes the Lotus Evora then, the Marcos Racing entered Lotus Evora number 57 as we were trying to work out who was going to come in first. Well, it was the Court Oyster car. I think it was Alistair McKinnon we ended up putting into that car when last you had it, wasn't it, Brian? Number 20... sorry, number 57.
I'm advised the 62 Aston came in a moment ago, and I'm getting reports that it's not good, but then it's not been good. Oh, now, wait a minute. Let's see. The car is looking neglected, lonely, no driver, no fuss and bother. Is the news bad? Who's going to talk to me? Owen, are you finally surrendering?
It would appear so, Brian. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for us.
Aye.
Second gearbox appears to be in a bit of a poor condition, shall we say.
I went through a short while ago the litany of things that you've had go wrong with this car over the last umpteen hours. Can you very quickly encapsulate them?
Everything, but I would say mainly electrical things and mechanical things.
You've certainly had gearbox problems, haven't you?
We definitely have had gearbox problems, yeah. We lost the gearbox in night qualifying and now we've lost the cog and it's just not worth carrying on.
Anyway, listen, valiant effort, well done, and now enjoy the sun.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, that's very sad, because they did give it their best shot, but it's not to be. It is retired.
Right, yes, I guess that. So the Lotus Evora, meanwhile, has come in and has gone out again. That's number 57. Number 27 is also now in, so they're playing it as we thought they would. And it wasn't Alistair McKinnon, was it? We had Alistair McKinnon handing the 57 car over to Hal Pruitt. So probably now Hal Pruitt will have handed that car over to Jim Briady, I would guess, on the sequence. But if you can check that one out for me, Brian, who's in the number 57 Court Oyster Lotus Evora at the moment. And then we've also had the pit stop from its nearest competitor on the track, number 27. But it's only done 10 pit stops as number 27. That was its 10th. No, that was its 11th stop that it's just done. And so it is... doing its 19 laps behind the leader. So it's done 41 laps on that stint, on that first set of, or the first stint on the new pads, and that took quite some while, an hour and 40 minutes. Was Neil Huggins, I think we had at the wheel of the Marcos Mantis. So those two cars, both with new drivers, and probably, oh no, was it Emily Fletcher? No, it was Emily Fletcher, wasn't it, who had the new pads? And so we now should have that car moving on to Jamie Orton. So if you can check both of those, Brian, for me, that will be great. Jamie Orton, we think, at the wheel of number 27 Marcos Mantis, and at Jim Breardy at the wheel of the number 57 Lotus Evora. Brian's desperately writing notes to himself. So those two pit stops, both having taken place, have a net effect of nothing at all on the race order. Still, the top three: Eclipse from Top Cats, Mosler from Aquila, then the Nick Me Aston Martin, which will be the next one into the pits, followed by the Intersport BMW of Kevin Clark and crew. And then after that we can start turning our attention back to the top three, which will then start coming in after their those pit stops of the other cars in the top six that we still have to deal with.
And there's very little to choose between the times of the top three cars at the moment, all in the late 2:14s.
On that last lap, they were almost identical, weren't they? You could almost have a safety car out there and ask them to do the same kind of laps, which makes me worry a little bit about this 2 hours for Bob Berridge.
That was based on a current situation and all things being equal status,
quite.
Which it hasn't turned out to be in the last half an hour.
No. Let's see, we've got 8 hours to go. That means he's going to have to do more than a lap an hour. So I think more than a lap an hour is going to take him, is going to mean that he's going to have to do something like 5 seconds a lap, isn't it? So if Berridge can start taking 5 seconds a lap out of either the Mosler or the Ferrari ahead of him, then we'll have a race on our hands. But at the moment, that Aquila, if anything, Steve, is actually going more slowly. It's not that the Ferrari and Mosler have speeded up, it's that the Aquila, having slowed its pace from what it was ultimately capable, has slowed it still further.
It's just done a 2:13 opposed to the Ferrari's 2:16.
Yes,
and when I made the prediction, there was a 6-second difference in those times, consistently over a few laps.
Yes, I mean, the thing was, well, we're absolutely right, because the Aquila was doing 2 minute 9, 2 minute 10, 2 minutes 11. That was its kind of range of laps, whereas now it's gone to 2 minutes 13, 2 minutes 14s. And whilst that's a 2 second a lap difference, it's enough that it means it's not closing in. No. But there's also the kind of worry that goes in your back of your mind. Well, if it started going 2 seconds a lap slower, what's happened to make that happen? Yeah. And so you wonder what's going to happen after that. And maybe things aren't quite as right as John Martin was suggesting they might be. Now the crackling has returned, which suggests that Brian has finished his bacon sandwich.
You read me well. How very unkind.
Yeah.
I was just going to observe that the Intersport BMW won't be in until won't be. It's not expected to be in until 1/4 the hour. So that's Kevin Clark at the wheel at the present moment, and lapping consistently in the 22s, 23s, not matching the lap times of what's happened, in fact, to the Coroiser car.
That's had a pit stop. And although it and the Top Cat's car both had a pit stop around the same time, were about the same time, as a result of their pit stop, the Intersport BMWs kind of slotted in between them.
Yeah.
So they both kind of fell down the order, and the Intersports cars slipped in between them.
And we now had the Aquila in the pits.
The Aquila is, I think, a bit early, isn't it? Let's have a look. I know I did say a time, but I can't remember what I said now. I said 365 laps for the Aquila. No, but the Aquila hasn't done that many, has it? Because the Aquila's only done 353 laps. Yeah, you have to kind of, because the screen doesn't tell you how many laps each car has done, which is quite frankly quite annoying, but you deal with it.
Now, you want answers to 27 and 57, don't you?
Just who's in them, because we've made guesses.
Yeah. I will. I'm on my way.
And then also, because the Aquila has come in after 25 laps, Bob Berridge. Now,
and was lapping marginally slower than you would have expected.
Yes, now it may well be that Bob's just... yeah, I don't know. There's all kinds of reasons for it, but certainly the car will do more than that on a tank full of gas, and we'll see when it next comes in. On that schedule, it'll be out for about another hour. I mean, it was an hour-long stint, so it may well just be that he's going to do a double stint of an hour for each stint, and they'll put in as much fuel as he needs, and they'll be driven by time rather than by number of laps completed. It's one way of running the strategy, do it by time. The last stint was pretty much exactly an hour. But as we've been saying, it's slightly more concerning that the lap time seemed to have drifted off a little bit for the Aquila. But maybe they've settled for third, and they're waiting for the cars ahead of them to break down.
En passant, as it were, going up the pit lane, I can tell you that number 77, the Cox family BMW, we have the Australian behind the wheel, Paul Stubber.
Now, John Brooks was telling me all about Paul Stubber. I can't remember when. It was probably yesterday morning. It was before I came up here. And I think he and Paul are old mates from when John Brooks was working in Australia. But you know, he had lots of kind things to say about Paul. He's had more experience than you might expect, actually, of doing long distance races in Australia.
I think Bonneville came into it somewhere, Paul, didn't it?
Bonneville did come into it. You're absolutely right. That was it. That was where he first met him, in the Bonneville Speed Weeks.
Do you want the bad news?
Yes.
The Aquila is being pushed back into the garage.
Yes, that is bad news. I think that's probably worth waiting on. We'll assume that the assumptions about the drivers of those other two were right. Well, I think we need to find out about this, Brian, because this is important.
Engine compartment is up, and there was a lot of smoke, steam rising. I have to be careful because there's a lot of activity going on, and I don't want to be in the way. However, I'm trying to get a view on what might be occurring, and all the attention is in the engine bay, but that doesn't really tell you anything, and I'm not sure I'm equipped to tell you anyway. Bob, you came in a tad early. Was it because of the problem?
Yeah, the water temperature shot up to 130, fortunately, just as I was approaching the pits. So I managed to get it in and get it back. They're just looking what it is at the moment, whether it's a hose popped off or split or something, I don't know. We've been fighting this car since about 6 o'clock last night. I think it's going to win.
There's a glint in his eye, and I'm not sure whether that is an element of humour or just a sheer bloody-minded determination.
Well, you know what part of the country.
You know the guys are going to do everything they can, but I think the car's going to defeat us. We've been walking wounded since 7 o'clock last night, really, and this doesn't look good. It had 130 degrees on the engine. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't look good.
It's not very helpful anyway. Okay, so Paul, that would really be a serious blow to us, wouldn't it?
Not as bad as it is a serious blow to the team. I mean,
to the overall event.
Well, we've still got a motor race on, and we'll pick some out of it. I mean, we've still got a close. It was going to be difficult because once the car started to not pick up the pace, when you spoke to John Martin earlier on, it was obviously they had something that they were worried about, and I hazarded to guess at the gearbox being the problem, and John kind of heaved a sigh of relief and said, "Oh, I'm glad they haven't guessed it." So they were obviously concerned about something, and I don't know. You just get the impression that there was something that was a weak link in the chain, but you could hear the dejection in Bob's voice.
Could indeed.
And you know, I spend a lot of time listening to drivers being interviewed over headsets, and you read more into the way they say things rather than what they say. And I think Bob felt that this one actually could come to them. It wasn't going to be easy. They were going to have to fight it, as he said, but it could have come to them. And I think we're going to have a good motor race anyway, because we've still got this battle going on. But it's a shame that it's not going to include the Aquila, but I think they've acquitted themselves. The Aquila has acquitted itself far better this year than it did last, when it was too fast and too fragile. I think, Steve, you may have an opinion on this.
I think, to be fair to the Aquila last year, it did suffer from outside interference.
To be fair, it did, but the problem is it's the flavour it leaves in your mouth which kind of counts, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and it was that kind of it was the aftertaste of, oh well, yes, we forgot about the Aquila because it was never going to be there. But this year it really kind of underlined itself as a serious contender, and next year, well, what do you think?
To be honest, right from the very first time it came out this weekend, it had the feeling that this was a serious effort and that they were in with a very real chance. That was the flavour that was left with me as the Coxmobile comes out, number 77, with, I believe, still Mr. Stubber behind the wheel. Yes, I always felt that the Aquila had a real intent to prove something this weekend. And I should be very sad indeed if it fails to do so. But it's not looking good.
Yeah, and I mean it's already dropped the laps, hasn't it?
I'm tempted to approach Tony Jardine, who's got a mouthful of bacon sarnie at the present moment, and he's trying to feed power into the aged body, the ailing body. No, all right. Tony, are you in a position to talk? What's going on in your camp?
Improving, consistent. We had some damage early on, as you know, and Sergeant Will went off on the marbles with another car. The boys did an absolutely fantastic job to rebuild the front end of the car, including...
Remarkable, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Fairly well destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, we even had the one of the front chassis members, cross members, was bent as well. And if you look behind there, Brian, you can see Sam Williams, the PR lady's Mazda MX-5 road car, in bits. It's been cannibalised.
I want to go home, she says, at 4:30 this afternoon.
Yeah, so when the boys had finished, they got a tremendous round of applause from in here. They kept us going. Major Jim Cameron did nearly 3 hours during the night. We couldn't get him out of the car. He was
maximum.
Yeah, he was absolutely loving it and setting good times as well. From personally, the traffic was a big issue. I think
you're not used to having traffic around you, are you?
Doesn't happen in the forest, does it? One against one. But no, I think a big race and very powerful cars like that, they've got to be quite aggressive. And you've got to get out of the way a lot of the times. But then again, the lap times are all right. The car's going very well at the moment.
Are you bearing any scars?
I got terrible cramps, and you know, normally we're racing out the back of a transit van. With Mazda, we've got our own physio. Yeah. Really? Yeah. So,
provided by the military or by Mazda?
No, by Mazda, and she's done a wonderful job on sort of getting rid of my cramps. And so I
your bottom.
hope it doesn't happen. Yeah, careful, James. I hope it doesn't happen again this last stint. But it's just when your legs are in a certain position. That's the age, Brian.
Tell me about it. I get it with monotonous regularity these days, and my aged legs are beginning to suffer from going up and down this pit lane. But so apart, you can really pin a medal on them, can't you, for E for effort?
There's no question. I mean, the cause is fantastic for all the army charities. The team effort has been brilliant, and Mazda would like to, bring both cars home. Our journalists are doing brilliantly.
Aren't they doing a splendid job?
Fantastic job. Ben Anderson is kipping up in the little suite where we've got some camp beds down at the other end. Major Jim's kipping as well. So, yeah, preparing for later on.
Are you preparing for your next session?
About 15 minutes and then I'm out.
50 or 15?
15.
15, okay. Well, good luck. Enjoy it. The sun is up. You can see where you're going now, and you can see what's coming in your direction too. All right, Tony, he's bitten into another large slice of bacon butty. So that's Tony Jardine representing the military. And what a good job they are doing, as he rightly says. Now, Paul, where are you pointing me?
Where am I pointing you? Well, we need to just check, on the schedules, I suppose. What was the two cars I was talking about? We've got number 27 with Jamie Orton in it, we think, just to make sure, really, I suppose. And 57 with Jim Brody, or Jim Brody. Is it Brody or Briody?
Well, I believe it is spelt B-R-I-O-D-Y, but
James.
There was some doubt about that.
Not Jim.
Pollyanna, may I say congratulations, well done on the simulator. I went in there not meaning to barrack you, but it may have sounded like that. But you seem to be doing extraordinarily well.
I'm actually really enjoying it. I've just finished my second stint, so I've just done 6 hours.
What?
I know. My fastest lap, I think, was 2 minutes 6 seconds.
I don't believe you, because you are not allowed to get out of a car looking as fresh as you look this morning, having done 6 hours on a simulator.
Well, I did get some sleep from 1 till about 3:30. So I've had about 2.5 hours sleep. I was back in there at 4:30 this morning.
We were asleep at about the same time. I better not say together. But now, are you enjoying this meeting?
Oh, I am loving it. I am a massive fan of live racing, and I love Silverstone. It's just an iconic racetrack, so I am enjoying every single second that I'm here.
We're going to see you on the telly programme about it?
Oh yes, it'll be on the Gadget Show, probably towards the back end of November. It's on Monday evenings at 8 PM on Channel 5, so keep 8 PM on Channel 5.
Right, okay. It's been presented to me as a young people's programme, which is probably why I haven't caught up with it yet.
Do you know, it's a programme for all ages. If you're into kind of gadgets and tech, it's all of that. We do the reviews, but it's also a lot of fun as well.
I have a son-in-law who is a gadget maniac. He really is. I mean, if he can overcomplicate a thing, he will. But to go into his house is fascinating because everything is remote control.
That's kind of the way it seems to go nowadays. I know. It's
must introduce him to Sir Sterling Moss one of these days, who's another gadget man.
I know he is, isn't he?
Ever been into his house?
No, I haven't.
Well, I don't know how gadget orientated it is now, but it was in the old days, quite exceptional. Had a dining room table that appeared out of the ceiling and things like that.
Oh, see, that's what we're talking about. That's real gadgets there, isn't it?
Yeah. You'll have to have a chat with Lady Susie.
Oh, I will do. Oh, I will do indeed.
Anyway, lovely to have a talk to you.
And you, my darling, thank you very much.
Okay, good luck. You've just got out. Are you doing another stint in the simulator?
Yes, there will be another 2 or 3 hours, a little bit later, I'll be doing.
And is there any chance that maybe at some stage in the near future you might try the real thing?
Oh, I love track days. If you can get me on a track in a real race car, I'm there.
I think that's almost done.
Perfect.
Well done. Thanks, Pollyanna. Okay, well, there you are. Pollyanna really is a lovely personality. I have to tell you that. I've just enjoyed that interview. Don't know what you lot are laughing about. But I'm headed down in the general direction of number...
We just had the Intersports BMW in, Brian, number 68, Kevin Clark. You told us, I think, to expect it at 8:15, didn't you?
I suggested it would be around about 8:15.
It's just been in.
That's not my idea.
No, I'm not accusing the messenger. I'm just questioning the message, just to make sure I got the message right.
Right.
And I had thought the message was 8:15, and I'm looking at my watch and seeing 8 o'clock, and the car is in the pits at the moment. So whether it was just the message wasn't quite right or not entirely sure. Just checking my notes here to see what they suggest for the car. And
Mark Ratcliffe behind the wheel. Kevin is on hand. And are you in a bit early, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I seem to end up doing about 15 minutes less than all the other drivers on the fuel. I know the fuel gauges in these cars aren't super accurate, but mine doesn't. My fuel gauge goes to empty and stays there for like 3 or 4 laps, so I can't risk running out. But the other drivers seem to do 15, 20 minutes longer than me. I'm so frustrated.
You're a bit heavy on the right pedal.
I want my 6 hours in the car.
Well, that answers a few questions, but raises a few more, I think, Paul, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was the last 3 stints of that car, 38 laps, then it had the brake problem, or the brakes pad change, and then it had a 40-lap stint, and then we had 31 then on that last stint, as you say, just not quite as long. So
I have an offer of an explanation.
Go on.
Kevin is inclined to push. You know, it's almost something that he finds irresistible.
Well, it might be a left foot braking thing, which is another reason which is often given for such things. So whether, I don't know if Kevin left foot brakes or not, but sometimes left foot braking causes higher fuel consumption.
Right, I shall inquire.
But,
Who's out in the car, Ryan?
James Kay?
James Kay, right. Back out in number 70, I think you are.
Yes, number 70, that's correct.
The car behaving?
Yeah, very well, very happy with it.
Pleased with the way things are going. After all, you've had a few issues during the 24 hours, haven't you?
Yeah, we have, but to come all the way from the other side of the world, just to be in the race is great, so hopefully to finish it will be even better.
That we would love to see you do. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, it's Ryan McLeod.
Who is, as you say, at the wheel of the number 70 Holden Astra. 10th place for that car, which is kind of on the border of a very, very good run. I mean, it's certainly, you said it was a very good run. It's a very, very good run from that car. And considering it was one of the late entrants, it's...
I think they have something really to offer these Aussies, you know. We tend to think of them as being slightly less experienced, but of course that's very far from the truth, really.
Well, they've been doing endurance racing over there for a long time,
yeah.
And I've started to make a habit of going to the Nürburgring 24 hours as well these days. And the number of Australians and Kiwis we have coming over to do that race, and they just bring with it such a refreshing attitude somehow. Where yes, they'll take it seriously and they'll do as well as they can. But if things start to go wrong, then there's no spanners flying out the front of the garage or toys flying out the back of the pram. It's just, okay, we'll get on with it, we'll have a beer, okay, now we'll do it again.
We've got the Vantage Aston Martin in the pit lane at the moment, and Alan Bonner has just given me one of those looks, as much as to say, oh dear. So he's suggesting that maybe there is an issue, a problem. It looks as though it might be some sort of a rad leak. Now, whether that is a pure supposition on my part, I'm not sure, but that's what it looks like at the moment. Maybe it's loose. Sorry?
It's a power steering pump cooler.
A power steering
cooler.
pump cooler. You went, Ooh, that's difficult for us to get our tongues around. Yeah, anyway, it's the coolant. that is leaking out of somewhere.
Yeah, that's two heat-related things we've had already, Brian.
Right.
It's only 8 o'clock in the morning, but since day has broken, we've had 2 heat-related type problems.
Paul Trustwell is blaming the sunrise.
He would.
We've had 2 heat-related problems since the sun came up.
Typical of Trustwell.
There you are.
Don't just say typical, give me an opinion.
You have the right to defend yourself, Paul.
No, that's all right. not in front of the master.
All right.
We have the Top Cats Mosler there in the pits as well. From
Yes.
position.
Thank you very much, Steve. So the Top Cats Mosler number 3 in for its 18th stop. And say, just looking back to when I said that would happen, 374 laps for that car means it's done 31 laps on its tank full. Now, did we keep Julian Draper? That was another question I was going to ask you, Brian, because I don't know if that is now Henry Fletcher or whether we kept Julian Draper in for a double. So we need to keep track of the driving sequence in the number 3 Top Cats Mosler, which is now in the pits, whether it's having a driver change, and if so, from whom to whom.
Is it in the pits?
Number 3 is, yes.
I'm trying to spot it. It's perhaps hiding itself away. There's a great sense of anticipation here from...
It's in garage 8B.
Oh, that accounts for why I can't see it. We've got Butler Motorsport outside 6A, waiting for a pit visit any minute now. And, well, I've managed 6C, 8B.
8B for buttons.
8E by gum.
No, 8B for buttons.
Oh, B for buttons. Right.
It's now vacated the pits. Looking at the timing screen, so you've missed it, Mark.
Yeah, but at least we can find out what the driver situation is on it. Don't give up, Brian.
8A. B.
And that means, whilst Brian is getting his breath back in order to answer the question, that within the next couple of laps we'll also have Sean McInerney coming in with the leading Ferrari number 2 to hand it over to Mike McInerney, according to what we expect. And that should be, it could be another 5 laps yet, actually. On the current fuel consumption for that Ferrari. So 10 minutes, 12 minutes for that car, 20, so that'll take it up to 8:20. I don't know how closely you were monitoring the lap, Steve, but I was getting the impression that on occasions the Mosler was actually gaining on the Ferrari, but seems to have gone back the other way now.
I must admit, keeping an eye on it.
Right, okay, we'll continue to try and keep all eyes on all screens.
Now, number 27.
Yeah, I think yes, I was going to try and...
It's Jamie Orton at the wheel of the Top Cat Marcos.
Yep, I'm happy with that.
You are. Now, what you want to know who's in number 3?
In the Mosler, yes.
Right. Next door, I fancy. Well, according to the board, at 0800 hours, it's Freddie, is it? Freddie's out there. Sorry? Freddie's out. How long's he going to be out for?
Just over an hour, we hope. No, I've just got out now.
Oh, you've just got out. Okay. So, Henry, how was the car?
The car's fantastic. I was right on the end of that set of tyres. We just put a new set of tyres on it. The car is faultless. Handling balance is beautiful. Brakes are good. It's great. We just need to keep it going round and round.
Well, we've got fingers very heavily crossed because we know what trials and tribulations that Warren and his whole company have been through in the last few weeks. So we're all wishing you enormously well in the next, how many hours is it? 20 minutes, something like that?
8 hours 11. 8 hours 11, by looks.
8 hours 11. Well, that is
8 hours 17.
8 hours 17. It's the old eyes playing up, you know. So you were very content with the car?
Yeah, it was great. It was a good stint. Really enjoyed it. It's nice driving with the sun coming up.
How tall are you, Henry?
6'5".
5. How tall is the shortest member of your team?
6 foot something.
You're not that different from each other.
No, it's fine. I cram myself into the Mosler. It's fine. It's not the most comfortable thing, but if I can get in it, I'll drive it.
Thanks very much indeed, Henry. Well done. So, have we answered your question?
Perfectly and in full. Thank you, Brian.
Freddie Hetherington out at the moment.
Yes, I think what they're doing there is just single stinting everybody through 4 drivers. No, they've really got 3 because I don't think, actually there is one thing, I don't think Andrew Beaumont has been out in the car.
Well, I'm not sure. Julian Draper certainly has.
Yes, no, the other 3 certainly have, but I don't think Andrew Beaumont has, and if he has, then I apologise, it's just that I missed him. But if you can check whether Beaumont has been out, because it just depends who's deserving to be on the podium, really. Because if he hasn't, then he deserves a go.
Andrew is team managering. As far as Henry is aware, he's not intending to play an active role inside the car.
So they're going to do it between the 3 of them. And that being the case, they've just cycled through drive for an hour, have 2 hours off, drive for an hour, have 2 hours off with the 3 drivers. And they've been doing that now pretty consistently throughout the race. And as we were just hearing there from Henry Fletcher,
passing me is number 2, the McInerney Ferrari with the blue helmeted Michael McInerney at the wheel.
At the wheel? Oh, because he's just going out. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Good.
And the reason I'm staying up here at the present moment is that we are awaiting a pit stop, and it looks as though it's going to be the Orient Express arriving at the station very shortly. And I'm going to make a valiant effort to establish who it is who's going to be getting into the car, and he's reluctant to be interviewed by me, but I really only want to know what his name is. So I'm looking for signs. And there you are, Yosuke Shimayima. Is that good? Okay, Yosuke Shimoshima, I think. All right, I gave him a curt little bow, just because I thought it appropriate.
I think you have to exchange business cards as well, don't you?
I just don't happen to have one with me at the moment.
And probably he doesn't either.
I hope not. Number 49 leaves the pit lane, and remember this is the Nick Me Racing Aston, and that car has just gone beautifully, hasn't it? And it's the winner of the Aston Martin Challenge, I believe. Now, I've no idea who's behind the wheel of the car at the present moment. Do you have any expectations, Paul?
No, I don't, I'm afraid.
All right, how are they doing now? Are they still...
they're still in 3rd place. And
leading the class?
They lead the class by a lap from Kurt Oyser and his team.
Right.
And Kevin Clark, the number 68 car, has just been assessed a stop-and-go penalty. This is the Intersport, which is the other car battling for the lead of the class. Now, they've just taken their penalty, haven't they?
I can see the Intersport BMW here now at the stop-go penalty area in the middle of the pit lane. That is middle lengthways. and it's being held there, so it's obviously a minute plus. Now the interesting thing is I'm not sure who that is standing alongside.
Sean, you've got to be pretty happy with that so far.
Yeah, very much so. It's been a long night so far. It's been a lot of attrition. We've had a few issues through the night that's caused us a few delays. We had got hit at about 10:30. We lost a few laps trying to deal with that, so we've just been trying to just really keep in a rhythm and ensure we get to the end at the moment. So me and Phil have been back to back since about, well, it must be about 10 o'clock now. So my father's just got in, so it's time for a break.
And how long's your dad going to do in there, do you think?
He'll probably do a double, yeah, so probably just over 2 hours, I'd say, and then Phil to jump in after him. So that gives Phil and I a break now until the afternoon. I think we're going to need it, really. It looks like it's going to get nice and warm, yeah.
And Top Cats are chasing you, but you're one step ahead.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just from the point of view that it drops to 2 laps clear, but we're out of sync on our fueling to them. So once we've now pitted, obviously, it's 2 laps. They'll need to pit probably within the next 15 minutes, and then we'll be back to 3 laps. So we just need to try and keep that buffer, really, just for a bit of peace of mind.
And how are you doing physically? We saw you having a little bit of massage.
Yeah, well, beating, really. It's the only way to try and keep supple. I'm feeling it, I'm not going to lie, but yeah, it's part and parcel of doing this kind of thing, really. Just got to try and look after ourselves and make sure we get the thing to the end.
And you had a bit of a Thruxton, you had obviously a bit of a smack.
Yeah.
How are you physically after that? Is that why you've got the masseur?
No. I've suffered my back for years, but I did. It was quite a big shunt at Thruxton, which did hurt. But yeah, we decided just to build the car, give ourselves time since then for the 24-hour. Obviously, this is the biggest event for us, so hopefully we get to the end.
Now there are rumours the MJC Ferrari has retired. Obviously, that's.
Yeah, I've just spoken to their team bosses, come over to us. They've had a cracked manifold, I think, which is terrible news, really, for them. They spent a lot of effort in getting that car back out after Donington, so it's a real shame for them. They were pushing very, very hard, and I think they probably would have given second a good run for its money. But I don't even want to forecast anything at this point. It's too far off. Yeah.
Still a way to go.
Yeah.
All right, well, rest up. And
Thank you. All right, cheers, Mama. Cheers.
Fashionably dressed. But I'm not quite sure how you would describe the fashion.
Try.
Yes?
Try to describe the fashion.
Well, all I can say is that it is a little leather orientated. It's got leather galvanized, sort of calf brown leather boots, black knee-length socks with I don't know how you describe it. And there's a lovely leather handbag, but she's a very smart looking lady. I have to give her my vote as the best dressed lady in the pit lane that I've seen so far.
Excellent. Thank you for bringing some of the thank you for bringing some of the colour of the pit lane. Because I'm stuck up here and
it's nothing short. It's nothing that you wouldn't expect to see on the Orient Express, is it?
Probably not. No, having never had the pleasure to ride on it. Well, I'd take a train to Vienna once, but no, that's going.
Well, they're leaving the station.
Excellent.
Yes, without any passengers, by the way. But that was an interesting pit stop with number 64 leaving the pits now. That's the Porsche of Dave Burnett. Not sure who's at the wheel of the car, as we have one arriving, one leaving.
Dan, Nicholas Me Racing, Aston Martin GT4, currently leading Class 3. You had a good stint overnight.
Yeah, we did. I like the night, so I thought, well, put the pedal to the metal and try and make a few places, and it's worked. We've got to keep it now.
Now, the Aston Martin, obviously an incredible car in itself, but really good for a 24-hour.
It's been brilliant. It's, well, touchwood, it's been so reliable so far, very reliable and a very comfortable car to drive. So, yeah, perfect car.
Right, now you're back out in an hour. How do you gear yourself up for that? You just had a good pit stop.
Yeah, I've just got to try and get my focus back, get lots of water on board and a bit of energy. But in the car for 2 hours, you're destroyed by the time you get out anyway, whatever you do.
And what do you think is going to happen now? Obviously, it's full daylight. Are people going to up the pace?
I'm not too sure. We've got to see what the weather does. If it keeps getting hotter and hotter like it has the last few days, then some of the cars might start to struggle. Maybe that'll play into our hands. I don't know.
All right, well, good luck for your next stint, Dan.
Cheers.
Thank you.
You have a marshal who actually gives you the signal that you can leave.
Yeah, but it was a one-lap stint.
Yes, it was.
And straight back in again. And did he come to the pit or did he come to the penalty box?
It was number 16 is the car that I actually meant that was arriving in the pit lane.
Which car?
Actually, it's not 16, is it?
68.
It's 91.
Oh, it was on his. Wow. It was upside down. Right.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. Well, let's because that has.
I'll inquire about 68's strange pit visit.
The number 3 Top Cats Moser has just posted its fastest lap of the race.
Yes, I noticed that, Steve. Now, I'm just doubting it a little bit because it's too fast for a Mosler, and because we've had, you weren't here earlier on, but we had a case earlier on today during the race when that car has a problem with its transponder, and that means that the guys up at TSL have to hit a button manually when it goes past, and I think they may have missed it when it went past, and that's why we've got that fast time. It's moved it across into the best lap column, but I know they're listening to us up in the TSL box, and I'm sure if it's true they'll remove it, and if it's true they'll validate it, and if it's not true they'll remove it. If it is true, then it'll just stay on the screen, I presume, but they have ways of getting messages through to us, so we'll find out.
Paul.
Yes, Brian.
68. Driver decided to come into the pits because he could smell fuel, and he wanted to be safe rather than sorry.
Right. Okay. And so, what did he do? Put a clothes peg on his nose?
I think they put a clip on his nose and sent him back out again.
Yeah. That's probably the best thing to do. So that's yeah. I mean, it's a terrific battle going on there for the class honours. They're still just separated by 2 laps, the 3 of them. With the variety as well, because we've got the Aston Martin, followed by the Lotus Evora, followed by the BMW. I mean, Britcar brings variety, no question about that. I mean, you can go from the top of the list, can't you? Ferrari, Mosler, Aston Martin, Lotus, BMW, Marcos, and it's the Lotus Elise, isn't it?
No, that's the Porsche.
Oh, the Porsche, sorry, yes. The Porsche is the Dorset racing car, is the Paul Winter car, number 66. So, yeah, certainly a great deal of variety amongst the top runners.
As we spoke, the Paul Winter car has just gone ahead of the Top Cats Marcos.
We have car number 63 being pushed in the pit lane. Do we? I've had a report from the marshal.
Can't see from here because
no, it's being pushed in from the side of race control, so it's obviously been brought in. It's looking very dusty, as though it's paid a visit into that area that it's not supposed to reach, and it's being pushed by the team, in fact, now. That's the Jensen Lund Sarah Bennett Baggs car. And I think it's Jensen at the wheel, but of course it could indeed be, he says, turning the page, number 63, it could be either, no, it can't be Ryan Hooker, but it could be Adam Sharp, couldn't it?
It could be.
Adam is a very tall young man, and I will recognise it whether it's him when he gets out of the car, but I'm not going to go chasing it up the pit lane because I'm waiting in the fervent hope that I might be joined down here by Chris Hartley any moment now to take over and I will be heading over in your direction to relieve at least Steve Wood, and maybe to give you a break, Paul, but please don't leave me for very long, because we are going to be sharing the box until 12:30.
We're a team, Brian, that's okay.
Hey, we are indeed. We were for a very long time at Brands Hatch. What year did you start with me, Paul?
1981.
81. You see, I knew Paul would know, even though I can't remember. But 1981, and I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that he defected after the 1986 British Grand Prix. And who can blame him? Because, of course, where did he go? Silverstone. And in effect, that was really what started your commentary career.
Well,
I believe.
Well, I used to come back to Brands Hatch a lot, Brian. You can't just say I defected to Silverstone as if I left Brands Hatch and never darkened its doors again.
I shall always believe that you defected once we lost the Grand Prix.
Well, there were still long-distance sports car races at Brands Hatch, which I used to come, and we continued to be a team at long-distance sports car races. And
yes, we did.
I still regard Brands Hatch as my spiritual home, where I still take my son from time to time, and we sit on South Bank, and nobody knows we're there, and it's great. You'd be surprised how often I'm there, Brian, and I do listen.
Some people would say that when Brian's around, you have to. How unkind.
I'm slightly worried about this, the Top Cats Racing Marcos, number 27. It's not being shown as being in the pits, but I haven't seen it come round for a little while, and that may just be because I've been trying to do too many things at once. But I'm going to keep on monitoring it, and I'm sure Steve will keep his eyes open as well, because I've got a feeling that it's actually not going round anymore.
27 is stopped on the circuit. Do we know where? You don't know where, but it's stopped on the circuit, and it is on the way back into the pit lane. So it's being given, obviously, outside assistance. Is it under tow?
It's on the...
okay, it's under tow. So it'll probably come in through the side of race control. And
well, this is...
I've got news of another change. I think we're going to see a pit stop from number 68 again. And I think this is the anxiety factor, because I think that I can see... now, maybe there's been a change of plan, because... Kevin Clark was standing there, helmeted, suited and booted and ready to go. Now he's just removed the helmet and the balaclava, and so perhaps he's decided to stand down. Now let's see if we can find out what is the anxiety. Mark came in, I think, suggested that he could smell fuel. That's why you were going maybe to have a lap to have a look-see and a smell-see.
Yeah. I checked in the boot, and there was some fuel on the floor, on the boot floor, where it was damp from the refueling. But the pumps ran when I checked it, and there was no leak. And he was saying he thought he was going to be overcome by fumes. So I said, well, I'll get in then.
But now he's more relaxed about it.
Yeah, well, I think he's assured now there is no fuel leak, and he's happy to continue.
Okay. Thank you for that, Kevin. So it won't be coming in. They'll cancel last order.
Fine, that's okay. That's probably the way we want it. So the Top Cats Marcos, this is a disaster for Class 2, because that was all that was left in Class 2.
Well, it may, of course, still be back out. We don't really know what the extent of the problem is, do we?
We'll send down Super Sleuth Chris Hartley to find out, and I'm sure he'll bring us some information as soon as he has it. Of course, the thing with things like this is that the car ends up in the pit lane, and the pit stop counter doesn't end up by going up, because as far as the timekeeper is concerned, the car didn't go into the pits because it was brought in on a flatbed.
And it wouldn't count if I went upstairs and told them.
Well, you can't do it just for one, because you have to do it for all of them, and then no.
All right.
Limitations of systems, that's all it is. But anyway, we picked it up in the end. I think it had actually been out there for some time before I picked it up, but we got there in the end. The trouble is, because the car that is behind it is the Aquila, which is going backwards, and the next car behind that is the Class 4 leading BMW Mark Griffith's car is that it just takes a long time for the fact that it has gone missing to appear on the lap chart.
Paul.
Yes, Brian.
27 is down at scrutineering. Now, can you answer a question for me? Not you, Paul, but the marshal I'm talking to, because sometimes they come in at this end, side of race control. Do they come in from the old pit lane for the Britcar 24 through... Well, yes, through the pit lane entry where the old refuelling bay was?
Yeah, depending what's easiest for the recovery team and for the teams to get them back into the pit.
And so on this occasion, 27 must have come in from where?
I believe it was recovered from the loop, and it's been dropped off at the other end of the pit lane.
Scrutineering so that they can have a butcher's at it before it goes any further?
I believe so, yeah.
All right, thanks very much for your help. And Paul, I hope that helps you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have to now keep our eyes on it coming out of the pits and then setting off on its way again. As I say, it's in 7th place at the moment, but it has 7 laps before anybody else is going to catch up with it. And when that anybody else does catch up with it, it'll be the Mark Griffiths Willie Green BMW M3.
There is, of course, a 50% classification rule in the regulations, which means that to be classified you have to complete 50% of the winning car's laps.
Thank you for that, Steve. Does the rule prevent you, though, from just racing as a non-classified finisher? So there's nothing to stop you just carrying on, knowing that on the final results you're just going to be down there as non-classified?
No, it could have an effect for your sponsors there that are running around.
Yeah, but because at Le Mans, for example, at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, they flag off everybody who's not completed 50% of what the race leader has done at that point. Right. So it gets rid of all the waifs and strays and hangers-on, so that the people who are arriving to watch the end of the race only see half the cars. That's the view they take at Le Mans. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just the way they do it. But here you can keep going as long as you keep going, and then you just either feature or not on the official results at the end of the race.
It looks like Kevin Clark is in trouble again with the men in serious trousers.
Nigel, you're still running second in class, a few laps behind, and you do have a problem with the Aquila, but not that major.
No, we've got a small hose broken, which unfortunately raised the engine temperature about 130 degrees. We've gone off to mend the hose, but luckily Callum Lockie and Melindy Scott have lent us one from their engine, which is fantastic. So hopefully we'll be back on the track shortly.
Very generous of them.
Oh, unbelievable. That's the spirit of this class. You know, everybody helps each other.
Okay, so you obviously got fastest lap. How are you feeling about that? Because obviously you've got an experienced team you're running here.
Yeah, we've got a very experienced team. Actually, it was young John Martin that got the fastest lap.
Teasers.
Yeah, they're teasers. They're all teasers. Yeah.
Are you going to get back out?
Oh yeah, we'll be out shortly. Yeah, Bob's going to do the second part of his stint. So yeah, we'll be back on the track soon.
Okay, excellent. Good luck.
Thank you.
Not to overstress all the components.
Who is that?
Generally, the leaders are. I mean, they're lapping quickly, but they're not lapping quite as quickly as they were doing earlier in the race.
Is that because they're in caution mode?
And I just wonder. Well, no, it's not caution as in yellow flag. It's just.
No, I mean cautionary psychologically.
Yes, and I just wonder whether they're kind of playing a little bit cat and mouse, saying, "Well, look, we've got it's 2 3/4 laps that separate the first two." And I just wonder whether the McInerney's are saying, well, there's no point in us going faster than we have to. As long as we go the same speed as you, we're going to stay 2.5 laps ahead. So they're just kind of matching each other's lap times. And everybody else, I mean, the gap, first to second, as I say, 2.5 laps, but everybody else is then 15 and more laps behind. So it really has, as it did last year, turned into a 2-car race between these two, the Ferrari of the Eclipse team and the Mosler of the Top Cats team, numbers 2 and 3. And I just wonder whether that's what's happening. We've got Mike McInerney, of course, driving in the Ferrari at the moment. 2:16 that time, a little bit quicker.
Steve,
Brian.
Can I address the question to you? In this race, which is a non-championship race, is there a minimum time for a pit stop?
That's a part of the regulations I have not looked at.
Ah, that is a question that is in the minds of car number 68, because the team manager, Dave, has gone up to race control because he's been summoned, and they're just wondering whether when Mark Ratcliffe came in the second time around, because he could smell fuel, whether there should have been a minimum duration of the pit stop.
Yes, there is something in the regulations, Brian, and it is that every pit stop must last 90 seconds or more.
Ah. In comes number 82. That's the Carvel VW, the Golf, and I don't know how they're doing, but...
well, Brian, this is a bit of a success story. This is the 8th stop. That's the least number of stops of any runner, any current runner. 16th position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th in class.
That's not bad, is it, eh? But, you know, it's a road car, isn't it? Ish.
It doesn't look like a full racing car.
Exactly. I may have some news.
It's in Article 16, and all pit stops, it says the time in pit for all pit stops will be a minimum of 90 seconds. And all is bold and in capitals. So if he hasn't read that bit, I mean, I'll forgive Steve because it's not his job, but the team manager should read that bit.
I actually think that it was more a cautionary call to race control. May I leave it at that?
Excellent. Well, that's good then. Let's just make a note of Rob Carvel's pit stop whilst he's making his cautionary call, because Rob Carvel's pit stops, as Steve's been saying, don't happen very often. Stop number 8 it was, wasn't it? On that.
I think I'm more used staying over here until Chris arrives. Paul, if you'll forgive me.
As long as Steve wants to hang on as well, then that's okay. We can delay matters. It does remind me that I missed the 16-hour rundown, but we've kind of been keeping up, and we'll do a full rundown when you get back to back to the box here. Anyway, I think that would help.
That would suffice.
Help everybody. And Dave Carvel.
I have to remember, of course, that we are being streamed. I've often wondered what that meant. Well, I'm not sure I know, but it means that our commentary is very frequently going out live on the internet, that you can pick us up on the Britcar website with full colour, and of course you get the race commentary. And often it raises questions that we may not be able to answer. I wonder whether or not you have a text messaging capability to ask questions, and whether they can be fed back through to us in order for us to be able to try and answer them.
I believe it, I'm not sure, the checkered flag are actually twittering it from the live streaming.
I see.
Makes sense, Brian?
No, not at all.
You're with me.
I'm making my way further up the pit lane, and there is a pit stop imminent at garage 3A, is the impression I'm beginning to get. I recognise that face under the helmet, but I can't put a name to it.
Paul Mitson.
Hello, Paul. How are you? Paul Mitson, you ready to take over?
Yes, indeed.
How long?
Always ready. Probably about 1:50, I think.
In about 1 minute 50.
No, sorry. I'll be doing about 1:50. Going out in about another lap. When the car's coming, probably another lap. I'll be out for 1 hour 50.
Oh, right. Yep. Just under 2 hours. That's quite a heavy stint, isn't it?
That's a good one. Yeah. The sun will be in the face for a while, won't it?
How's the car going?
Yeah, we've done reasonably well so far. Just put a new diff in there, so she's running fine. So
I'm not. It's not that I'm not paying attention to you. It's just that I keep looking over my shoulder because I'm watching my back. Well, who's in the car?
You've got lots of friends, have you?
Who's in the car at the moment?
Pete.
All right, Pete who?
Good Pete Gower, who's our who he raced it in the Britcar this year with Simon Phillips, and they won the GTN.
How about that?
So
good
lads.
Got a very competent lot together for this 24-hour race.
Indeed.
Pleased with progress?
Sorry?
Are you pleased with the progress?
Yes, we're fine. We're sort of now itching to get through the last section and see if we can survive through to the end, so we're hopeful.
Fingers crossed. Legs crossed and everything else crossed is the feeling I get in the pit lane.
Did we tell you, Brian, that when you spoke to the Japanese driver immediately before he got in his car for his stint, he went out and set the fastest lap for the car that he had ever set during the race. So you're obviously a valuable driver coach.
Oh, in comes number 66 at, well, I think it was a quick pace, but I'm going to say that in a low voice because I don't want to arouse other people's suspicions. And that is the car that is being refueled at the moment, and which is having a driver change. We've also got number 78 right in behind, next door, and this is the Seat of Andre Savaz and his crew, number 78. Yeah, it's Peter James, Malcolm McAdam and Mark Haywood. Not sure who's in the car. To be honest, looks as though he's going to stay in. You're looking remarkably fresh, Ben Constanturis. You've just woken up.
Yes, I had a lovely evening in the snooze box. I have. The snooze.
Quite an expensive box, isn't it?
It depends what. It's like a luxury hotel. It really is. A lovely bed. The bed's very comfortable. Shower. A bath, not a bath, a place where you go to the toilet. That's the one. A nice sink, and the shower is very powerful. So yes, that's why I'm looking fresh. Cause
85 quid's worth.
Depends on who you are.
Better come through you next time.
Come on, Brian. You know that.
I've got an even better deal. I'm on the circuit just there. It's costing me nothing.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's a bit more luxurious than a tent, and I think that's the idea. They call it glamping these days.
You're young enough to be sleeping rough. Yes, no question. All right, Ben, you shouldn't be having all this luxury. Your father's brought you up the wrong way. Apparently, I had Bob Constanturis out there on the circuit racing yesterday. My well-known propensity for getting names wrong. 78 rejoins the race, no driver change. That was about a fairly rapid pit stop anyway. But here we're having a wheel change with number 66, and so let's have a look-see. This is the Pete Morris mobile. Well, that's what I call it anyway. And I'm never quite sure anymore whether Pete's getting into the car because it's the new slimline model Pete. But who's at the wheel?
I think it's Speed.
It is Pete. No. That doesn't look like Pete. No, that's definitely not Pete.
Speed. Speed, is it?
It's Speed. Ah, right. Okay.
Tim
so that's rejoining now with fresh rubber on. Number 66 rejoins the race. Tim Speed is at the wheel. Tim, a quick word in your shell-like. You've just come in. How long were you out there?
I think about an hour and 40, so long enough.
Long enough. How's the car?
Going strong, feels very good. We're double stinting tyres and it still seems to be handling well. Brakes are strong, so very happy so far. Nice to watch the sun come up.
Where are you on the leaderboard, or aren't you?
6th.
Oh, wow. That is not a bad effort. 6th overall, 26. You're actually 4th in class. and it is looking very dominant, isn't it? You're, 4 laps behind the Intersport BMW?
Yes, I mean, we're not going to get too excited. There's a long way to go, but fingers crossed. And yeah, if we can keep going as we are, then we'll be happy boys.
And are you a well-balanced team? I mean, looking at the remainder of you, you've got Paul Winter, Graham Mundy, Pete Morris, Tim Speed and Tim Raven. Are all 5 of you driving?
I'm Paul Winter. The 2 real quick ones in our team are Graham Munday and Peter Morris. Yeah, they're the flyers.
You're not one of them?
Well, I'm not too far behind, but the quickest now.
All right, okay, well done, Tim. And
that was Paul.
Oh, was it Paul?
Yeah, that was Paul Winter, and he slightly underdid himself because he said he did an hour and 40. I reckon he did an hour 46, so just an extra couple of laps. 42 laps altogether in a single stint on a single tank of fuel. So you know, it's hard work when you're driving some of these less powerful, more road-going cars. The lower power-to-rate ratio of the smaller cars, Class 3 cars, and as you said, it's doing very nicely indeed. 12 pit stops now completed for that car.
Now, number 46 is in the pits. This is the Lotus Elise GT4 car, and it's taking on fuel at the moment, waiting to receive the fresh driver, which is
Nathan racing in the Seat Leon. You just got out. How was that stint? Hot?
No, it's actually pretty good this morning. I'm sure later on the day it's going to get hot. We've got our cool suit running, so that's great. But no, it's good right now. It's great.
A fully Aussie team. Great to have you here at Silverstone. What are you thinking about the circuit so far?
It's a really good track. It's really fast. It's almost fully Aussie. We've got Archie Hamilton with us.
Oh.
So, but yeah, he doesn't let us down. He's going really well. So no, it's great.
Okay. No, you were in Spain last weekend, weren't you? How did that go?
Not great. We were going good, but I had a bit of a problem. I crashed the car in the 13th hour, so it was all over from there. And my fault as well, so it wasn't good. Not a good day.
But you're still doing well here so far, and you have had a couple of problems with the car. You've changed the entire gearbox. There's a gearbox lying around your garage.
Yeah, we've done a steering rack and a gearbox. So yeah, that's why we're way down the order. Hopefully, we'll just keep pipping them off. There's still 10 hours or something to go. So
yeah, still a long way to go, and just keep running. I mean, that is where the skill is.
That's it. If you look, there's a couple really slow cars that are inside the top 20, and they just keep going around and around. But anyway, that's what we're going to have to try and do from now on.
Yeah, well, good luck for the rest of the race.
Thanks a lot.
Enjoy our weather.
Yeah, thanks. See ya.
number 94. And I'm pretty sure that it's Jake Rattenbury who's just got out. Well done, Jake. How long have you been out there, Jake?
Only about 2 hours.
About 2 hours, he says. That sounds like a fairly lengthy stint to me.
Yeah, well, we were going to hopefully run about two and a half to three-quarter hours, but the tank just won't last, so we're only allowed to run 2 hours.
You don't want to run out of gas, do you?
No, that's the main thing.
All right, and so who's getting in to take your place?
I think Mark is.
All right, Mark Davis, that is. I don't know much about Mark.
I think he did the Ginetta G40 challenge this year, won it a few years ago, I think. So yeah, he's a very quick driver, very good, very reliable.
All right. How are you doing in terms of the leaderboard, number 94?
I think we're now up to P29. P29.
Are you? Oh, you've got a little way to go before you get onto my leaderboard, which is the page 1 of the TSL screen.
Well, we got it to P10, but I think around about there. But we had a gearbox problem about 2 o'clock, so let's change.
Am I right in thinking that there have been quite a lot of gearbox problems this year?
This is our first, but we haven't seen any others. But yeah, I think there's been a lot of engine and gearbox problems.
All right, okay. Thanks very much, Jake. Well done. Still the pit stop continuing. A bit more fuel going in at this stage. Right.
Tell you what, Brian, the Brian Saunders that's in that car, is that the Brian Saunders that used to do Formula First? Because you'll remember him.
Yes, I do, but I haven't seen him.
I can confirm it is.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that, Steve.
What was that?
So it was just Steve on the other mic saying that he can confirm it is the Brian Saunders that used to do Formula First.
Well, yes, but I'm not sure I would recognise him anymore because, you know...
Well, he's probably 20 years older than he was.
Exactly so. Let's see if I can track him down. Where's Brian Saunders? He's in bed. I thought you just said that he had been interviewed on another channel, Steve.
He's still got the hair, I'm told.
He's still got the hair?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Brian I remember with some affection because he was always a perky, spiky young lad. And he put in maximum E for effort, but I'm not going to look any further because I certainly wouldn't want to invade the privacy of his boudoir.
And you know what the link is, Brian, why he's in that car, is the roll centre link. Because Martin Short used to do Formula First about the same sort of time as Brian Saunders did Formula First, and about the same sort of time as Ben Edwards did Formula First.
Well, that was 1989 for Ben, wasn't it? It was his championship year, and I think that was the first year of Formula First. Was it 89 or 87?
I'd have said 87, but
yes.
I'm not a Formula First expert, I'm afraid.
I think it was 87.
I disagree. I think it was 89.
Okay, you may be right. It was all a long time ago. We've got the leading Class 4 car in the pits, meanwhile, back to Silverstone 2011.
Is that the CTR car?
No, this is the number 89 car, which is the one that Willie Green called the old BMW.
Oh, yes.
And I'm afraid that one's got a stick. So the old BMW, which is leading its class, it's in 8th place overall, is in the pits for a driver change. I think Willie has actually driven it, got out and gone back to bed since you spoke to him. So it won't be him in the car.
I was going to chide him about being William in the programme.
Exactly so. But there we are, 89 has gone and been and done what it's had to do on...
So it's out on the track, is it? There's not much point in my moving in that direction.
Well, no, only, as I say, it's just had its pit stop. There may have been a driver change.
Right. Can't remember which garage they're in.
89 is in garage number... Can't find it myself.
You know, somebody was telling me about the psychedelic flashing lights above one of the pit garages, number 2C.
I don't, I have to admit, but go on anyway.
Well, can you not see it from the commentary box?
I can see nothing at all in the direction of the pits because that's looking directly into the sun, I'm afraid.
Ah, right. I now know what it's like. It reminds me of, and the answer is Lanfranchi's helmet from many years ago. Lawrence, I'm with Lawrence Tomlinson, ladies and gentlemen. Lawrence, is it an up and down race for you, Janetta Fortunes wise?
Well, it is, but it was quite promising for the G55, to which I was going to be driving in right now after my full English breakfast. I'm all full of carbs and ready to go, but no car, so yeah, it was very promising that we showed good pace, very good fuel consumption, and we're always very good on tyres with Ginettas with a chassis. So we had a car that could win, but unfortunately we just had one little wire came off the crank sensor, which we couldn't find in time. We damaged, I think, the loom when we changed the engine after practice. But we went 40 laps down, and we thought, well, we're back here on Thursday for the BGT with the same car. It did Donington the week before for 3 hours.
Would have been pushing your luck, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but we just decided that it wasn't really worth the risk for us so we withdrew the car, which is always a great shame. But we had a fantastic driver lineup. And
you've still got Ginettas out there, which is very encouraging, isn't it? Because I mean, Ginetta is now a major sort of ranking manufacturer, isn't it?
Well, certainly in the endurance racing, because they're great to drive. Everybody loves driving the Ginettas, and they are generally pretty reliable now. And the G40 won its class last year, and it's going strong too.
Disabuse me of the thought that's lurking in my mind somewhere that maybe there's a gearbox weakness.
Willie currently leading Class 4 in the lovely BMW. How's it running?
Fortunately, it is still lovely. Oh, it's going like a bird. I mean, it's just great. It just keeps pottering round, which is the way to do a 24-hour race. You try to keep out of trouble and just enjoy it. It was interesting when it got dark because my lovely mechanics forgot to take the covers off the lights. I couldn't see anything last night. This morning it was great with the sun coming up. Clear track, got rid of some of the mobile chicanes. It's just terrific fun. I hope to goodness it'll keep on going till the end.
It's been a little while since you've done a 24-hour. How are you going? So 73?
1973 at Le Mans and Ferrari Daytona. We've got further than we did then. I think that got broken at about 8 o'clock in the morning. But we were flying about 8th at one stage then. It's all right. It's good fun. I mean, it's fascinating.
You're looking very sparky, if I do say so myself. How are you managing that? Have you had some rest?
No, yeah, I shut my eyes for about half an hour. That's about all. I'd much rather been in the pub at one stage, but I wasn't allowed to. No, this is just good fun, and you just have to be determined. What I'll be like tonight or tomorrow, I don't know.
Are you getting back in the car for another stint?
I should think so, yes. I haven't quite sorted out how it works out, but I think I'll probably be in at the end, which will be even better.
Well, good luck for the rest of the race and go and rest.
Thank you very much indeed.
Always like to look after the Ginetta Junior drivers who come through the ranks, and we're bringing so many new kids into the sport. We've got Jake Rattenbury here now.
He's a promising lad, I think.
No, he's done a fantastic job. He's just done a full stint, more or less, and just set the 3 green laps, so done the fastest laps, and good. He's really, really good driver.
Pleasure to talk, Lawrence. Well done, and good luck for next weekend. Right, with you chaps.
Yeah, just reflecting, listening to Lawrence there. You know, this link which seems to be being forged now between Lawrence and Martin Short, I don't know whether that's going to be a long-term link. I don't know if even they know whether it's going to be a long-term link or not. But I do see a way that Martin, with his kind of roll your sleeves up and get on with it, and Lawrence's kind of more business acumen, astuteness, they could actually work quite well together. What do you think?
Yes, I know. The only observation I would make about that, Paul, is that it's a pretty tough call to get 2 lions of industry. Now, in a way, Lawrence is one of those. Whether Martin comes under that category, but they're both very individualistic, even though they use big teams in order to progress their businesses. And Martin is his own man. And I wonder how difficult it will be for a long-term relationship with any other businessman.
Yeah, absolutely. But they have very different ways of working, and that's where I see that the synergy might work. But I don't know. I mean, I think there's kind of benefits from both for both people if they get themselves together on that one. I feel for Martin because he's seeming to reach the end of the road with the Mosler somehow, in that he kind of keeps on running up against brick walls in whichever way he turns. Lawrence seems to have the ability to open a few more doors with the Ginetta, and yeah, I don't know. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
We've got about, just to change the subject for a moment, we've got about, how many minutes? 15 minutes or so before Mike McInerney's due into the pits. And I just wonder who's going to get to the pits first, whether it's going to be Mike McInerney or Chris Hartley.
I'm just wondering whether a telephone call is in order, because I think he's probably slept through.
He's fast asleep somewhere, bless him.
John, MJC Ferrari, it's behind you and it's not moving anywhere.
It is, and the race hasn't really quite begun, because the race is probably going to begin about 10 o'clock. And unfortunately, we didn't get there this time. We're pretty close to getting there. You know, we were getting it back, I think, and we probably would have got back second place, and second place very close to first now. So we had a chance, but it wasn't meant to be. But it would have been a great fight, and we were looking forward to it, but such is life.
So all down to the cracked manifold. You did try or your team tried to fix it with a bin.
Yes, the cracked exhaust manifold, and there were some options to fix it, but we didn't want to risk the car, to be honest with you. And we came to win. You know, we didn't come 10th, we came to win, so we made a joint decision to pull the car.
Well, you had some challenges out there yourself with the seat issue. I mean, that must have been seriously challenging for your stint.
Yes, I mean, it wasn't ideal for me. It was eventually we got it fixed for both Phil, Whit and Keith, but obviously I'm a little bit smaller and need the seat a little bit further forward, so it wasn't ideal, but managed to drive around it and was quite enjoying the stints, you know, so but such is life.
Well, we were enjoying it up until that point, and going to rest up now?
Oh, for sure, yeah, for sure. We'll enjoy the sunshine.
Absolutely. Thanks, John.
All right, thanks a lot. All right.
Super. And they're still going round, separated by well, less than a lap now. They're both on the same lap. It's 1 minute and 40 seconds. Just goes up to a lap as Nick Mee's car goes round and sets another, crosses the line for another lap. And the Aston Martin is currently waiting for its 14th pit stop, which is on about lap 390, I reckon, which will be in 9 laps time, won't it? So about 25 minutes before we get the Nick Mee car in, and the 57 Lotus Evora, whilst there's a stop and go for number 86, which is, what's number 86? Oh, that's the military Mazda. Not sure who's in the military Mazda at the moment. It's not Tony Jardine, because we've spoken to him relatively recently, but either Brigadier Major or Sergeant has been speeding in the pit lane, sir. And you're not going to do it again, are you? No, sir.
What was that?
Speeding in the pit lane for the military Mazda. So they're going to have to come in and serve a penalty.
That was 4 miles an hour over the limits.
Ooh.
You get 2 seconds per mile per hour.
Which Mazda was it?
The military one. The one with the captain, the brigadier.
I shall march straight up there.
Yes, well that's
and investigate. I won't.
Depending who it is, Brian, I think depends on what attitude you should take, because you'll either be able to pull rank or not, as the case may be.
Well, yes, I can pull rank, but I'm not sure I can outrank a brigadier. In fact, I'm damn sure I can't.
Or would you wish to? Yes.
Or Major Jim, who I tried to put into the Major Tom mode, but that wasn't working. So perhaps I could manage to outrank a Lance Corporal or something.
Or Tony Jardine. But we don't think it can be Tony Jardine, because you've been speaking to him relatively recently, I think.
Ooh, I'm not sure. That seems a long time ago now, but
it was, but I don't think he was on the schedule. Kind of thing, but we'll no doubt. Well, as I say, if you can pick it out when he comes in, because he will have to come into the pits within 3 laps of getting the message.
Right. And by the way, I have spoken to Mr. Hartley, and he, I think maybe quite rightly, pointed out that he was scheduled to be back at 10:30. Am I right?
Oh, I haven't keep the schedule as well as the.
But however, he's going to be back by 9:30. I don't know where he's kipping, but he's going to be back at 9:30. So I will be over with you at about 9:35, I would guess.
Yeah, it says 10:30 on my list.
Does it?
Yes.
Is there a gap then?
Is there a gap? There's no gap between you being in the pits and being in the main box. No.
No, that's right.
You're 1 minute in the pits, and then the next minute you're in the main box, and then.
So who was supposed to take over from me in the pits?
Nobody. There's a gap in the pits.
Ah, well, we can't have that, can we?
No.
No.
No. Who did the design?
So, I don't mind doing another hour. That'll be a 5-hour pit lane stint.
Fantastic.
Followed by a 3-hour main box stint.
Well, let's do some facts and figures to give you time to sit down or something. 401 laps now completed by the race leader. We're still on schedule to break the record distance, 2,000 miles and counting. Well, not on 2,000 miles yet, but the the little goal that I set for the cars without them knowing it was that they should try and do 2,000 miles in the 24 hours, and they're kind of on track to do it. We're 16.5 hours into the race. It's 3.66 miles around the circuit, and if you've got a calculator, you can work it out for yourself. Not going to do all the work for you.
Can I
yes.
just report that I was present and correct on duty as number 75 came in to the pit stop penalty area, and I peered into the cockpit and could not establish who the driver was, so I'm now marching earnestly back to the Jota pit, where they will tell me, and I will be able to tell you just who was the driver who... Now, excuse me, I have a serious complaint.
What's this?
You exceeded the speed limit by 4 miles per hour, I'm told, and I want to know who it was who was in the car.
It was Mr. Tony Jardine.
It was Tony Jardino. You see, unfortunately, it was a civilian, wasn't it? You know,
just can't obey orders.
We wouldn't have had any indiscipline from the military members of the community. Oh dear, we shall pull his leg about that a little later on. Okay, does that answer your question, Paul?
Oh, absolutely.
We've got another one now. Is that number 78? I seem to recognise a car. And there, it's in for a stop-go. Now, back to you and the statistics.
No, hang on, I've got to catch up with pit stops, because we've had 2 pit stops whilst that was going on as well. Because we've had the third place battle into the pits and out of the pits. 49 and 57, both having been in for routine pit stops and straight out again for both of them.
Well, hang on, 49 is still in the pit lane.
Yes, they're not out again yet, are they? Sorry, 49 and 57 are both still in. But they are both having their pit stop at the moment, so there's a lap apart from them as they're in the pits. 57 has now gone on its way, that being the Lotus Evora of Kurt Euser and his team.
So has 49, it's on its way.
Excellent. As I say, there's just a lap between them as they head off. And the Aston Martin is still ahead of the Lotus as they head off. I was going to say we've got this 400 lap mark has been exceeded, and as I say, the end result could be that we get 2,000 miles completed, which I think is a pretty good milestone. Now that's an Aquila going round. I didn't expect to see an Aquila going round, but it has done. There's a thing for you to investigate, Brian. Number 6, the Aquila, which Bob Burridge was at first being, I think the phrase was bloody minded that you used about it, and said he was going to try and get the thing to the finish. Then he said he decided that realism had taken over. But the Aquila is back out on the track, Brian. So we need to find out whether it's going to have a chance of staying out there. It's 48 laps down now, which is probably about 2 hours. So good news to see the Aquila out, and I think it's just a nice looking car. So we'll see whether it's able to turn in some more fast laps, or whether it has a recurrence of the problem and isn't able to take further part or not.
88 into the pits, Paul. Now, I had a quick word then with Christian van Landschot, or something.
Yep.
And he was telling me that they were very happy with things. He says, we can't be unhappy, to directly quote him, because of course they're leading their class with the Nick Me Racing Aston Martin GT4, and I'm not sure who went out in the car having taken over from him.
It should have been Dan DeZille.
Yes, well it may well be. Aha! I'm being signalled for a second breakfast. Thank you very much, but I'm not allowed a second breakfast.
Of course you are, Brian. I'm not your
Do you want me to bring a bacon sarnie over for you?
No, I've got quite enough to eat. I just don't have enough time to eat it.
No, I know you don't. You don't have enough time for anything, not even sleep.
The Aquila's gone through and done another lap, and 2 minutes 11 on his first flying lap. So, I wonder if that's Bob again. We need to find out who's in that, or just to satisfy my own curiosity.
Are we uncertain who's in the Aquila?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, well, as I say, it's gone out and done one flying lap. We also have the Top Cats Racing Mosler in the pit, so it's all action all of a sudden. The second placed car that we put, who do we put? Freddie Hetherington was in it at its last pit stop, and it's in again now on lap 401 on.
If the Aquila is doing 2-minute 11s, was Mr. Berridge being unduly pessimistic?
Well, he kind of went through all moods when you spoke to him, didn't he? Because I distinctly heard him say we're going to win the race.
Yes.
And he also said it's beaten us.
Yes, it did, and I took
it may have been something in the accent that I didn't quite understand, but.
Well, he said he felt that the car had beaten the team, and that the implication was that he didn't expect it to survive. But if it's doing 2:11s, and it's on the pace, isn't it?
Well, it's only done one lap at 2:11, but certainly so far, whoever's in it is wringing its neck and giving it what for.
Who do you suspect that might be? Would you put your money on John Martin again, or is it too early for him to be out? Or would you put it on Nigel Mustill?
I'd put my money on Bob, to be honest. Of all the stubborn and perseverant and persevering drivers, I think he is one of the most persevering, and that would be my my wager if I had to make one.
Who's in the car? Your prediction was perfectly accurate, Paul. He's back out in it, and he's done a 2:11. Is it capable of doing consistent 2:11s, Gareth?
We hope so. It's a matter of whether it will take the heat now. It was damaged by that last thing, so we hope.
I know you went up to 130 degrees, which is a bit worrying, isn't it? But are we going out more in hope than expectation?
Expectation, right.
I do like the optimism, eh? So
2 minutes 12.
A good positive attitude there from Gareth Evans, who's also driving in the team, but it's Bob Berridge at the wheel as you predicted.
Yeah, 2 minutes 12 on that lap. Then it's just completed.
Now he will be watching the thermometer, the heat, the temperature gauge like a hawk, won't he?
Either that or they've taped over it.
Possibly.
And he's waiting for it to break out through the glass.
That would be a Hugh Chamberlain device, wouldn't it?
What, taping over the temperature gauge so they can't see whether it's overheating or not.
Yeah.
Yes, well, anyway, the Top Cats Mosler has been in for its pit stop. Looks a fairly short and uneventful pit stop from where I'm sitting, and that should be Freddie Hetherington handing over to Julian Draper if they're going to continue with their metronomic style that they've adopted thus far in the race, of changing the driver every stop, and with 90 seconds to do so, there's no harm in so doing. And it then means that we're now waiting for Mike McInerney to come in, which should be on the next couple of laps. And then the question is going to be whether Mike does a double stint, as Sean and Phil have been doing, or whether Mike gets out and lets one of the younger drivers have a go. Meanwhile, Dave Cox has also brought the VW Golf in for another stop. Still going strongly inside the top 20 is number 77. Dave Cox's car.
77, Jason just coming out. They've just checked the wheel nuts on the front. They've changed the pads. I think they've just melted the bottom of my shoe. And that'll teach me. Dave, can I claim for a pair of shoes? I think I've just trodden on one of your brake pads.
Oh, I bet that's a bit hot.
Yes. Still, it does wonders for my chilblain. But, Dave, you have had a troubled night, haven't you?
Not really a troubled night, we had a troubled start. Yeah, we started off fine. First 40 minutes the car was fantastic, and then it created a misfire. And everything we tried, we couldn't cure it. In the end we had to change the wiring loom in the engine. So we lost about an hour and a half. And we changed the wiring loom in the engine. Yeah, so it's a big job. So we lost about an hour and a half. And we were down to 47th overall. Dead last in class, and we're now up to...
Last time you were down there, you had a little...
Our little Cozzy, yeah. Yeah, we now got the beautiful Tallulah. She's fantastic. But when we sorted out the electrics, she's performed faultlessly, and we are now...
77. Which page are you on? You're on page 1.
Yeah, 17th overall. 6th in class.
6th in class. And still with the potential to move upwards and onwards. You've got the Carvels ahead of you by 2 laps. You can see them off, can you?
Well, we're hoping to be on the podium.
Be on the podium. I like the rich vein of optimism that they're tapped into.